All right, my name's Eric. I'm with ATG. I'm going to talk about how we use open source in our environment, how when we work on customers' environments and whatnot and deploy. So essentially, it's kind of like Wizard of Oz. I'm going to pull back the green curtain and show you how we actually do it today. And everything I'm going to show you here, you could do on your own if you want to with your team. That's me. I've been doing this for a little while. I've worked at AWS, VMware, Cisco, worked on the customer side, FedEx, various different customers and whatnot. But got 29 years of doing this under my belt, and I lead up solution architecture for Align Technology Group. Quick agenda here. Just want to talk about who we are briefly so you know what ATG does. A lot of people think we do different things. It's kind of entertaining to get the commentary of people coming up asking us if we're part of an insurance company and things like that. Then I'm going to get into the designs and the principles. Everybody on the engineering side of the business and the sales side of business is committed to doing everything standards based and open source and not locking you into a specific technology. Because if you have a great product that performs well, it should be able to interoperate with everything else that you already have in your environment, or you might want to bring into that environment in the future. So I'm going to talk about how we do that, and then I'm going to show you some advanced models and some different things that we're working on with customers today you may or may not have heard of. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand. I'll take questions at any time, or if you want to wait till the end, that's fine as well. So overview of the company. We're based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. We're 4 years old, but if you talk to people that started, it was actually a little over 6 years old, but 4 years officially since we went to an S Corp. We service customers in all different types of verticals. It's manufacturing, healthcare, finance, you name it, we probably work with a customer in that vertical. We always like to work backwards from the business problem. We are not building solutions in search of a problem. It is the exact opposite is how we are, because we're your partner. We're here to help you solve problems, not just sell you solutions. So I'm going to spend a little time here just to tell you about all the different things that we're really good at. And I think my pointer's working. I'll point some. Okay. The first one here is cloud advisory. So a lot of customers have not ventured into the cloud. Surprisingly, it's 2024 and there's still a lot of people that are on-prem or in colo or are using older technology. And they need to make that decision, that educated decision with an assessment of what am I going to do? What should go to SaaS? What should I modernize? What should I retire? Right? What should I keep on-prem? What should I let die on the vine? And that's different for every business. Different for healthcare, different for manufacturing, different for finance, right? But you have to do that assessment and that homework, if you will, so you know what is right and what is wrong. You also need to know the relationships between all these different products, and you'll be surprised. I had a customer that was sending data to the Mayo Clinic and didn't even know it. Very large healthcare system. They had no idea until we did a collection. So this advisory and going through that function and doing it the right way is extremely, extremely important. I can't stress how important it is. Now, finance, when people are inside the cloud, they're already consuming public cloud. If you don't restrict what people can do, the costs can go higher, right? It can get out of control. So when we build an environment, we put cost controls on there. We put alerts and things like that on there. But a lot of customers don't do that out of the gate. Maybe they started, shadow IT and consuming some. So we do quite a bit here with building that out for customers. And then the one in the middle is my favorite. This is my cup of tea, if you will. This is engineering, infrastructure, applications, modernization. This is the cool stuff. This is the invention. This is making your problem go away. Right? This is what we do right here. And we've done that very well for quite a long time. This one right here, cloud security, is how ATG actually started. A lot of people weren't in compliance. You'd be surprised how many different healthcare systems and advisors to healthcare or third parties that aren't in compliance. And we've helped them get in compliance. Companies that are doing business over in Europe have to follow GDPR and things like that. So we're very skilled with that. We have some virtual CISOs that can guide you on how to do that properly with cloud, set up the programs, get the documentation, everything. And the last one is the one that pretty much every one of our projects is focused on today. And you're probably sick of hearing about data analytics and Gen AI, unless you work on it like I do. But this is what we are primarily doing for our customers. And again, if you've got a business problem, you can typically solve it with data and analytics. But how you solve it is different per your organization. Any questions? Nobody's asleep yet? It's after lunch? All right, this one, Catalyst. Is anybody here using AWS other than me? Using AWS? Okay. When you pay your bill, you can go directly with AWS or you can go through a partner like us. Now, the difference is with us, you get these 11 services that I've got right here in the bullets. Now, the way it works is AWS makes a margin when you consume services. And when the partner is included, they give us that margin, and that's how we pay for these value-added services. So if you're paying $100 in your consumption bill to AWS today, and you move your billing over to ATG, you're going to pay $100 tomorrow. We don't mark it up. But because we're getting paid by AWS some of that margin they make instead of them keeping it all, because we're an advanced tier partner, we give you all of this. Now, there's a few things on here that our customers find really valuable. I'd say the number one is a cloud security posture assessment right there, the architecture health check, and the finance. But the posture assessment is the most valuable one because a lot of customers don't know. Maybe their accounts aren't secure properly. Maybe they don't have MFA in their environments. Maybe they're not hitting all the compliance that they think they are and they're at risk. Maybe they don't have the guardrails out there and somebody's going to do like Citibank had and get inside their S3 bucket, and instead of what's in your wallet, it's who's in your wallet, right? Because you can take that data out of S3 if you don't secure it. Oh, it's Capital One. Yeah, Capital One. I should have known that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right. So those are just some unique things about us. Let's talk about the standards-based designs and what we do. And if you've been working with AWS, these may look somewhat familiar to you. So, but I'll show you a couple things we do differently. Now, has anybody heard of Landing Zone Accelerator in here? You heard of anybody? No? All right. When I worked at AWS, I actually came up with Landing Zone Accelerator for healthcare. I recognized that there was a problem with the healthcare customers where they didn't have a template. They didn't have a solution. And I saw other cloud providers like Azure and GCP bringing on these solutions that made it easy for the customer to consume. So I said, how can I make it easy for the customer to be HIPAA compliant? So every Friday, I would take my team of engineers and we would have hackathons and we come up with different inventions and ideas. And this one came up on a Friday. We developed it in 2 weeks. Now there are several different, there's finance, there's GDPR, there's all different types of businesses that have templates to do this. Building this and seeing this, it's probably a little bit of an eye chart to look at it, but this didn't take us long to put together because these are all native services that we have inside of AWS to use. And you can use different tools. A couple of the ones I'll point out here, you'll see we use GitHub. So all of these templates are available publicly in GitHub. And we actually use Terraform for everything we had. And that was before Terraform went BSL and whatnot. I know there's a lot of people that are interested in, can I do OpenTofu versus Terraform? We do Terraform still, and all of our customers do. But going through this is how we grab the data. And there's actually a really good blog that you can look at to see how this works. We wrote it up. And it's for all these different verticals. If you haven't deployed on AWS, or if you have and you don't have a landing zone, you're worried about your compliance, we can help you. You don't have to learn how to do this, but we would use this to build your environment. All right, let's talk about the infrastructure. So once you go through this LZA and you deploy this, it's like the foundation of your environment. And I don't know if this is going to be very legible, but I'm going to try to point at a few things here so that you can understand what's being built and why we build these things and the benefit to you and your business. So everything here, you'll see there's a master payer account. The payer account is where all your bills for all your accounts go up to. There are no workloads running in here. This is where you have all of your organizational units and you push all of your policy down So you make sure that you stay in compliance in the different accounts. If somebody wants to open up a bucket to the world, they can't do it because you blocked it at the OU level, similar to how you do in like Active Directory if you're familiar with OUs. So you can have different high-level groups and then subgroups under them if you want to restrict more or want to restrict less based upon what the workloads are going to be inside that account. Everything from here down is what's deployed in Control Tower, minus this edge account right here. And it's all automated with Terraform. You don't have to consume all the services that I have up here. This is just an example of some of the best practices we do. But you'll notice, if you can see it, if you have really good eyesight, right here, I've got virtual Palo Altos. This particular customer operationalized on Palo Altos for their security, and all the traffic is being routed through there, and all their policy from on-prem is being pushed up to that. So they didn't have to change their operational model to do that. Now you can deploy the network firewall, it's distributed firewall in AWS instead of doing this, but it's entirely up to you. You can use these third-party products or go native. Going down here, there's a shared account. Inside a data center, whenever I've had a data center outage, and Lord knows I've been through a few of them, there's always that one rack that you got to get up and running. There's that one magic rack that nothing else is going to work until that joker gets up. That is a shared services account. Right? Now, everything comes up very quickly in AWS, but that's how you think about this. This is where my SSO and things like that would be. This customer, unfortunately, was using Okta. Typically, we have AD for SSO and whatnot down here. And then this little account down here, this little rectangle I've got, this is the login account. And this is one of the most important accounts because these files are protected. This bucket is protected. You're watching config, you're watching CloudTrail, you've got CloudWatch. You see everything that's going on inside of all these accounts, and you're congregating all that data here. And if you have a SIM that you want to forward this data to that you prefer to use, you forward this data right out of here to that SIM so you can analyze it, right? So keeping your operations and your security posture. This is what we deploy in that LZA. We customize it for your business, whether it's, Palo Alto and things like that. There's little knobs we'll turn, and it's all infrastructure as code when we do that. The right-hand side here is where you're going to see some variables inside of your account. Maybe you've got a development, UAT, and testing. I'll show you that in another diagram. This particular customer said, nope, we just want our development account and our production account. And you'll see they've got Redshift clusters. But it's microservices, and they're developing here, and they're pushing here with a code pipeline. Down here, they're pulling data. This was actually from a casino I worked with where we ingested data in real time. We started with 3 static datas, and then we started streaming data from Konami. If you're an old video game guy from the 80s like me, Konami video games, they make the slot machine software now. It's pretty cool. So we were streaming live data in here. You have to use a Kinesis object for that. But in this example, this is just databases that we're authenticating to or pulling data in with a glue crawler. And then we're building data lakes. We have data warehouses, and we have data lakes. So now that you've curated this data over here, you got raw and curate it, you can do something meaningful with that data, right? You can do something to help your business out. So this is one example of architecture. Anybody have any questions? I know I'm talking really, really fast. No? Cool. All right, keep going. All right, tools-wise, and I really wish I made these icons bigger. I apologize for that. We have several different types of tools that we use in our environment. Now, if you work in the data center, you're probably looking at this and saying, those are a lot of the same tools that I use. I'll point some out here. These are the SaaS-based services, and these are our open source tools that we've got right here. And you look down here, we've got Terraform, because Terraform, well, it's BSL, so technically I have to put it here, but there is an open source version of Terraform as well. Trend is what we do a lot of our security posture assessments with, but we've built some automation around that to look for different things that maybe Trend isn't checking for, right? So we're augmenting that with our knowledge and experience. I've got Microsoft, AD, things like that. Cloudomize is a tool that we do for assessments. We look at relationships between applications. I was talking about that a little bit earlier. What database is talking to who? What different services are you sending things out to? And then, of course, Arctic Wolf for security and things like that. Going up here, you look at like Tenable. Has anybody ever used Nessus, like the Nessus scanner? Yeah. So we use Nessus, right? It's a tool you can still use in AWS. You've got the flows of the network, but what if you want to attack a device and look at it and test it before you put it in production for the rest of the world to look at? You can still use those tools. Right over here, this one is RV Tools. So if you're migrating from VMware over to AWS, you want to get a quick dump and look at all the different actual storage usage, compute, and things like that. You can do that, but typically we like to run Cloudimize, and there's an open source version of Cloudimize as well we can use to collect that data over a period of time, like 2 to 3 weeks. And then up here is my friend Jenkins, which my buddy Jerry in the room actually introduced me to many, many moons ago. I was like, who the hell is this Jenkins guy? What are you talking about, Jerry? And he's like, oh, it's a CI/CD pipeline. A lot of people use Jenkins, and so do our customers here. And then we have GitHub as well. So these are just some of the tools that we use and plug into the different AWS environments. Okay. I think I got that one. All right, data pipeline. So this is an example of a data pipeline. Now, in the middle here, you can plug different things in. This doesn't have to be Redshift and Glue. This could be Snowflake. We actually do solutions with customers with Snowflake. But you'll see this is for a bank that we're working with, where they've got a banking database, they've got an insurance database, and they're trying to identify customers that they could service better on either side, right? Target customers, of course. So you're ingesting the data with Glue. Whenever there's a change, you're ingesting data, you're putting in the Redshift warehouse, then you're curating the data with another Glue job. And then here it is. Here's your unified model with curated data that's got all the de-identified objects and whatnot. Then from here, you can use whatever you want to query it, right? You can use QuickSight, you can use Tableau, you can use Power BI. This customer is looking at QuickSight and Power BI because they operate on Power BI today. And then obviously you can make visualizations if you want to have like a web interface or something like that, or just publish a interface off of QuickSight or Power BI for your executive level users to take a look at. So this is a common data pipeline that we see with customers. And this is typically where most of our customers are. A lot of people, is anybody here getting pressure to do Gen AI in their company? Is anybody, yeah? No? Yeah? I hear that a lot. And for lack of a better analogy, I'll say, if I was to come to you and say, I'm going to run the Ironman tomorrow, you'd probably laugh at me because I'm not ready for an Ironman. You can, So same thing with your data. Your data has got to be ready. You're not ready for Gen AI unless you have a proper data strategy and data pipeline. And that is the biggest hurdle to people taking on Gen AI use cases. But AWS has done something kind of unique here, and I want to show you what that is. Has anybody heard of Bedrock? Has anybody heard talking about Bedrock, AWS Bedrock, Amazon Bedrock? No? All right. These are the customers that want Gen AI. They're typically looking for this. They say, what LLM should I use? Right? There's a lot of LLMs and they're constantly changing. Has anybody here ever created their own LLM? Has anybody ever trained a model other than me? No? You trained a model? How long did it take you to train a model? Yeah, it takes a long time. Yeah. Yeah, it's no small feat. Now train a model with images. Now train a model with speech. Not on a CPU. You've got to have some pretty heavy duty compute with a lot of GPU to do this. That's why there's all these different LLMs emerging, because people are focused on that. The question is, which one do you use? And when you write the code to take advantage of that LLM, it's different because they have different APIs, right? So what Amazon said was, how do we make this easy for the customer to consume these different LLMs and give you access to all of them? How can I move there quickly? And how can I keep my data secure and private, right? So a lot of these things they had already solved. So Bedrock solves this problem. Bedrock is not an LLM. Bedrock is a tool that you use. It allows you to choose which LLM you want. It allows you to customize your model, protect your data, and integrate it with up to 3 different LLMs at a time. So you're not just pulling one LLM, writing the code, and then rewriting it and say, oh, I want to use the new version of Cloud. I want to use, whatever the new LLM is that comes out tomorrow, and you say, that's really cool, and you have to go rewrite everything. Bedrock does it for you, right? You write it one time, you call Bedrock, it integrates, you're good to go. So what are some of those LLMs? And I hope you can see this, but you see we've got Anthropic, Cohere, Meta. These are all the ones that you have access to. There are a plethora of them. I have not seen anybody give a customer access to these this easy. Most of my customers and data scientists, they're hitting one, they're writing code 6 months to a year later, they're doing it again with another one in different data sources. It's a constant rolling project. This levels up the game and gives you access to all these different models and lets you modify and develop faster. So we're doing projects with customers where we're utilizing Bedrock. We're also utilizing Q to help write code or do chatbots and things like that. And it is a game changer if you're a customer. You definitely need to check it out if you haven't already looked at it. Now, if you're a technical person like me, yeah. That one right there, I can't even see it. Hold on a minute. I'll tell you exactly what it says. Let me. Yeah, I think it's QA on that one. Hang on a minute. I'll say, yep, QA and reading comprehension is what it is. So for QA testing and Textract and things like that does that function as well. It changes on about a monthly, sometimes quarterly, but I've seen it on a monthly basis. So you got to go out and look at them and say, am I using the right model? Is there something better? And to me, the first time I used Bedrock, and I said, I don't have to go rewrite all my code. I don't even have to write code sometimes. Q writes it for me, which is really handy when it comes to development. Good? Okay. All right. So if you're a technical person like me, you probably grew up saying, how does that work, and taking things apart. So that was my first question. And I said, how does this thing actually work? Now, in order for these LLMs to be useful, you have to inject your data. So you've got to have a RAG model inside of there to be functional and actually give you something back. So this is a flow of a RAG model. Let me see if I can point to some of these. Here we go. So you start with your user query over here, and we're going to be talking to Bedrock, right? But you've got query on augmented prompt, and then it's going to fetch your specific data. So you define what that data is, but it doesn't share it with the LLM. It keeps it encrypted inside your VPC, and you can actually clear the cache after the query is run. So what you're doing is you're doing this augmented prompt with, your financial data. Or if you're in medical, how many people have a genetic propensity to have cancer or something like that, right? So you're going through these, or if you're looking for somebody with a certain blood type and a certain blood oxygen level, whatever that is, and you augment this with this model, you can use up to 3 models. It's showing 4 here. It's 3 right now. It's going to be 4 very soon. And then that increases your propensity for accuracy by utilizing the different models. You don't have to write the code to see what the accuracy is. Bedrock does that for you. It takes a lot of this heavy lifting out of the way, makes it a lot easier for you, again, to level up your game and consume these tools. And then you get a more accurate answer a lot quicker. So I'll give you an example of a customer of ours. They manufacture shirts and sweatpants, shirts, sports gear, things like that. And if you're a customer and you're looking at, I wear this certain size shirts, I like warm-up suits. Our delivery guy loves warm-up suits, our delivery director. And then you say, but I don't like green, right? So this model is going to use the data in the database to show your preferences and then search that. And it's going to look for everything that is available from their vendors and what they have in inventory and tell them the lead times. You can do things like that very quickly with this tool. Cool. Okay. All right. I got one more slide, and then I'll open the floor to questions. But this is something that a lot of people that we work with are not aware of. So we're an advanced tier partner. I don't know if you caught that earlier on. We're quickly on our way to Premier. So as an advanced tier partner, we have access to different programs with AWS. This is just one of the programs, but the most popular program you're going to see. So if you are interested in doing a POC, if you're interested in deploying a data project or whatever that is, chances are I can get it paid for by AWS, depending upon your spend. So with the assessments and all these different things, we have access to money. It all depends upon what your ARR, your annual run rate, will be of your AWS consumption as a result of that project. You can get credits, or up here, when you move up here to 100,000 and 500,000 ARR, you see we have access to others. They have special incentive programs going on for VMware, right? A lot of people are getting off of VMware because of Broadcom and in the pricing that they're doing there. So they give you extra discounts here. It was 20%. And then some of my team members went to Miami to learn about all the different programs. They said, you can now do all 30% of these. So there's modernization. If you're a greenfield customer, you haven't been on AWS, there's another 10%. And there's 10% for VMware here. What you see in the green is cash that AWS pays us to do the work. So I'm doing a POC for the bank. The data pipeline I showed you earlier, the bank is paying nothing out of pocket. Right. And if they decide to move on and take all the other data models and build upon what we're going to do in the POC, they're probably going to pay nothing, because the consumption rate of what they're going to do is well beyond what AWS is in this green area here with the percentages and whatnot. At the very end here, you'll see migrate and modernize, and you see credits. Depending upon how much you're spending, you can get credits for different workloads. I don't know if you're familiar with Andy Jassy, but he detests Oracle. And Larry Ellison, he's said it many times over and over again. And so there's always big credits for SAP and Oracle to migrate to AWS. So you can get 50% in credits, 50% of your spending credits. That's huge. That comes off of your monthly AWS bill. So a lot of customers can run in AWS, not on free tier, but with higher level tier services for free for a very long time. As an AWS partner, we love to give this to our customers whenever we can. We work through these programs. We have people on our team that's what they do. She's not here today, Kimberly, and I appreciate her work very much for going through this, because there are a lot of little hoops we go through, but it saves our customers a tremendous amount of money. I'm going to give you an example. One customer, a startup we're working with right now, we developed their software. We built out their data analytics model. We're going to be building out everything with Bedrock here in the next phase of the project. Because of their spend with the project, AWS gave them $362,000 to develop their product. So if you're a startup and you're trying to build an environment, you need help writing software, but your product is going to expand to that level, there's a possibility you can get money from this. And there's other programs as well, if you want to hear about, for ISVs and SaaS and things like that. So great program to take advantage of. I'll end there. Thank you.